I say I run for World Vision, I run for clean water in Zambia. We have 2 communities in Zambia that my church raised money for.
What is the name of your church?
We go to Northridge in Plymouth, Michigan. Our goal is to raise $1,310 for children of Zambia. But the impact that this makes goes through generations. If a well is dug and the community can now receive clean water, that means those children can now go to school. Prior to getting these wells, they had to walk for miles to collect dirty water, water that animals would bathe in. These families had to collect that same water and then try to purify it enough to drink, to clean, to wash their clothes in. I think the number is 1 out of 7 or 5 children died because of this dirty water. It also impacted the mothers because the mothers could not work because they also had to collect water for their families. So the only thing mothers really did all day was collect water, cook, collect water, cook. And the children had to do the same. So now, with these wells being dug, these children can now go to school. They can be educated, change their lives. These mothers, they can now work. World Vision have programs where they can start business. They can take loans out to be able to start businesses, and most of them are craft businesses, and sell their goods and then pay their loans off and then support their families. So it is absolutely life-changing, not only for them, but it goes through the generations that follows them. I'm a run walker, so I run for X number of minutes and then I walk for a minute. That was all the training that I participated in for the past 2 years. When I finished the marathon last year, I didn't think I would ever do anything like that again. It was tough. Part of my training that got me to the marathon, we ran a 20-mile run, and it was like a month before the marathon.
And have you always been athletic?
No, I had really gotten out of control over the past several years, not taking care of myself.
Or when I think about people running and walking in marathons, I think about these world-class athletes, people that do this every weekend and every day they're involved in some kind of endeavor to get their bodies ready. What prepared you for your marathon?
World Vision came up with a strategy or a plan for training for a marathon. They give you a plan to run 4 days a week, to strength train 1 day a week, and to do cross-training on another day, and then 1 day of resting. Now, in between the 2 marathons, I did not continue to run.
This year, you had some people that joined you.
Now, my daughter Meredith, who's my oldest daughter, she is an athlete. This is her 4th marathon. The other women that joined me had never done anything like that. They worked out, but running wasn't part of what they did, and they weren't, strong runners. My niece, Melissa Cantrell, Mitzi Sanders' daughter, God really just blessed her with a godly man who trained her and helped her prepare for the marathon. And she was good and strong. Melissa has never been a runner, never, ever. And she was in real good, health and strength to be able to run this marathon. My other friend, her name is Kim Holland. But she had never, up to that point, ran more than 15 miles. And again, the reason she had to stop, it was a 20-mile run, but she had to stop at 15 because of injury. She has a calf problem in her right calf. About mile 15, the muscle became very tense, and she had to start walking more, to the point that Melissa, though she had stayed with us up to this point, I got her to run her own race, so she was able to just keep going without us. Though I stayed with my friend, I stayed in front of her. I was still pushing hard, even walking, because once you start walking a lot, it's hard to start running again. And my friend was getting further and further behind me. So I got to Belle Isle, which is about mile 20, and I just prayed. And I was praying in the Spirit. I said, Lord, help me. And I had talked to him about this before. What am I to do when I get to that place when Melissa wants to go and I have the strength to go with her, but my friend can't make it? What do I do? I said, Lord, help me, because she's really falling behind. And it was very clear to me, what do I learn from the Bible? It's about people. I slowed down. I stretched. I stopped and I stretched. And I just turned around and I walked back to meet her. She was then about a quarter of a mile behind me. So I just walked back to meet her. She says, well, I'm really hurting. I said, I would hate to see you come all this way and not finish it. I said, what do you want to do? She says, I want to finish it, but I can't walk very fast. I'm hurting. I said, well, if you're willing to do it, I'm willing to do it with you. And we went in together. And then we were meeting other people along the way who were injured. So we would, start these conversations. Wonderful, wonderful. It was just God lessons for both of us. But we stayed together, got near to the finish line, and Meredith came back to meet us. So we both crossed that finish line together. It took us 7.25 hours, but we did it. We finished. We got our medals.
What do you think the Holy Spirit had to do with this effort?
The Holy Spirit had everything to do with this effort. I was totally out of shape, was not working out, and needed help. One morning, I prayed as I was heading out to church. I said, Lord, I just want to know that I hear your voice and not mine. I said, I don't know what it's going to take. That's my prayer. And so I went to church, and they announced the marathon. I knew I would do it because in order for me to complete the training in the shape that I was in, it would require the voice of the Holy Spirit.
What kind of shape were you in, Bunny?
I was in really bad shape. I was probably close to 40 pounds heavier than I am now. I was on blood pressure medication and had been threatened to have to take cholesterol medication. I figured it was going to take the Holy Spirit to get me through it.
Did others doubt you?
My husband. So he said, oh, okay, she's running a marathon. Well, we'll see. Because he didn't believe it. I didn't even believe it, so I wouldn't expect for them to. So I know it was the Holy Spirit who gave me the strength, the inclinations, the determination, the faithfulness to even complete the journey.
You start to cast this vision. So are you looking forward to next year, or you said the Lord would let you know?
We had a banquet to culminate the training and to kind of kick us off into our marathon, which was to happen 2 days later. And the first speaker who had ran across America from L.A. to New York this past summer, and he ran for World Vision. He raised $500,000 in the process. He kind of convicted me right at the beginning by saying why he runs. He hates running as much as I do. But he knows what he's been called to, and he knows the impact that it's made. And I had recently said that I do want to run another marathon, but I don't want to run to raise money. And I was so convicted I almost was crying uncontrollably. I just wanted to just run because I knew that I would be, if this was the plan he had for me, doing another marathon, plus I would be raising monies for that reason. I would like to become a runner. I don't see myself as a runner yet. The message for me as well is to be more disciplined in my walk with the Lord, that others may see that light brighter for Christ. I was reading the book of John about 22 years ago, and I can remember as if it were yesterday looking up and saying, I got to tell somebody. I had to tell somebody, particularly women who were feeling as low as I was. I had a good life. However, I think from losing a mother at a young age, not having that, kind of love, though my grandmother loved me unconditionally, I just never knew who I was and what life really was all about or even how to live it. I just said I have to tell somebody about the love of God and how vested He is in us and everything that He has already done for us and what He's willing to do. I know that I will spend the rest of my life telling somebody I can't help it.